Sound. Yeah, we're getting sound. Sound is good. Thus begins the usual ritual of setting up chat on my phone. There we go. Right, I think that's working now. Cool. Right, hello everyone. It has been, I think it's been a few weeks actually since I've done anything on the Primes project. Been having some exciting times in the crypto world and with Golem, and that was a welcome break from big primes. But today, I think we're gonna talk about some of the stuff that's. I think I've implemented Dependabot. Looking at that, yes, yeah, some of the changes that have, I guess, are waiting to go in. So, by the looks of it, we've had some automatic builds that have come in. Just check, see where we are with big primes. Have we had any issues? Anyone report any problems? Nope, all by me, I think, apart from the Flansel one that we never quite got around to fixing. 10 branches. What have we got going on there? Oh, Dependabot. Cool. So I've activated this thing called Dependabot on it's a GitHub thing. And it will automatically bump and try and build on our versions or our dependency versions. So it's one less thing to do, but it really puts your automated testing to the test. So I guess if we go to pull requests, where do I click that? There we go. We can see, yeah, so a bunch of dependencies have clearly been bumped. Not in my favorite shell. Let's go back to the favorite shell. I think it was called Starship. Yeah. That's if we want to compile it again, but I don't. So what do I want to do? I want to check, like, is there anything to pull? We changed anything? Nope. Anything to commit? We're on the master branch. Cool. Okay, so there's nothing really like to do. So I guess we could just try and build some of these and see what happens. Building them one at a time feels pretty slow. And I've still got this branch here where we added a bunch of unit tests. Must have been the previous. This must have been the previous stream, right? If you're watching this back afterwards, I mean, you know, one video straight after the other, so you'll know better than I do. But right now, I just can't remember. I think this must have been. I mean, the build passed, so I'm tempted to just let this happen. Let's just merge it. All 4 checks have passed. Merging's blocked. Fine. Yes. Yeah. In worst case scenario, we break the live site, right? Get rid of that branch. I wonder if we got that branch locally. We probably do. Get branch unit tests. Switch to unit tests. Maybe there's something. Oh, your branch is ahead. We did have 1 commit. That may have been an error on my part then. What did we do? Added failing test for generate rows. Oh, okay. Well, we wouldn't have wanted to have pushed that. If I go back to here, this will hopefully merge now. I was thinking about this as well. If we go back to the build history, or pull request, sorry. maybe one of the things we should fix first, because we've got all of these dependabot things. These are going to take like 10 minutes a piece to build. If I click on any single one of these, I remember why I did this, but we've got CodeCov running after the tests, and I think there's a speed boost of 5 minutes, which I guess is about 30%. Excuse me. To be had if that ran at the same time as the tests. A chicken and the egg situation. I think it might be worth fixing that first. And that's going to be super simple as well. So if I check out the master branch, and actually now, yes, we should be able to pull that change that just went in. 6 commits. That's a lot of commits. Well, actually, I don't want that. I want to have a look at get log. What were those 6 commits? Oh, I see. The 6 commits must have been in here within those unit tests. That makes a lot of sense. That makes sense. Back to our build. Loads of filing going on. Fine. Head back to here. So another thing I wonder is we do these one at a time. We're talking 10 or 15, maybe 20 minutes. That's like an hour of dependency. So I'm not going to do that. Definitely not going to do that. One thing I do wonder though is, yeah, what's going on here with this? Because this is the framework we're using, the seed framework. And curiously, that fails in every single test scenario, every version of Rust. I wonder why that fails. Okay. All right, I know what we're going to do. We're going to create a really big pull request, put 2 or 3 things into it. Yeah, let's do that. So git branch. I'm just going to give it a silly name like today's date or something. Streaming 2019 11/23. Then we can check out that branch. Yeah, thanks for the follow. How are you doing? Yeah, then we can check out that branch, and then we can start to make some of these changes. So the first thing we want to do is maximize this. How's it going? I think Yalvici. Let me know if I'm getting that wrong. You think JS is better than Rust? Okay. Cool. All right, then I'll bite. Why do you hold? Why are you comparing 2 programming languages? First of all. So what have we got here? We've got our test stage. I think I'd like to rename that ideally. But we could move, and the deploy stage makes absolute sense. But I think we take CodeCov out. Okay, I'm sensing a pattern here. So are you going to slowly list all programming languages? CodeCov. So I think this should take about 5 minutes. Well, I was up for that debate. I was totally up for the debate. JavaScript's better than Rust and PHP is better than Rust. I mean, I would have been all right about talking about those. But cool. I'm glad you're joking. Who knows what would have happened, what dark corners we would have gone into if I'd have tried to justify why Rust is better than PHP and JavaScript. I think that might be all we need, you know. Just do a quick diff. Check I'm not doing anything too silly. So we've got rid of the entire stage of CodeCov. We've just added this CodeCov stuff to run during the test stage. I think that's good for committing, and we can test that pretty immediately. Well, if I do a dot, what do we end up with? Oh, just the Travis file. Good. So we've moved CodeCov into well, we've moved CodeCov to be parallel with tests. And now I think about it, actually, we haven't necessarily given this a good name. But what was the defining thing that showed it as being CodeCov? Was it just the stage? It was. So I do wonder if this is going to need something else, like an extra environment variable. That would be my guess. Or a better name. I think it's going to need an environment variable. Let's add it. Let's see what happens. Moved CodeCov to be parallel with tests. Yeah. If I push that up to this new branch, we should see fairly quickly. Okay. Where would we see that? I guess we'd see it here, right? That says master. I didn't push to master branches. No, I didn't push at all because I didn't read the error message that came up. Try that again. Cool. No errors, no errors. So we should see a new branch build here. As I impatiently refresh the page. But we should. There's nothing up here saying, hey, don't build for branches, is there? No, I don't think so. It'll only deploy. Ah, yes, there is. If type equals pull request. So we need to crack open a pull request for this. Fine, we can do that. Go over to GitHub. Yeah, create a pull request. So far, we have moved CodeCov in the CI to be parallel with unit tests. Should see refresh. I don't need to get a pull request, of course. Pull request 60. All right, so great. It says tests, but unfortunately, there's no way to differentiate which one of these nightlies is CodeCov. I was hoping that by setting that environment variable, we'd be all good, but that didn't do what I thought it was going to do. Oh, it also might not have committed. I guess because I started the commit and then edited the file. Yeah, there we go. What it is. So let's just cancel this build. So we can say added code cov environment var to differentiate. Differentiate, yep, cool. Guess differentiate from test builds in CI. Push that up. Hopefully that'll work this time. It won't need me to set the upstream. No, we're good. So let's have a look. All right, okay. I'm on board with this now. I'm on board with this. HTML is better than Rust. I reckon if you go for long enough, eventually you'll name a language I haven't heard of, and then I'm going to have to Google it. Probably carefully off stream. But what else do you reckon's better than Rust? Get this build. Should see. Yeah, new build. Oof. Okay, so that's interesting. Actually, I guess that kind of makes sense. We don't really care about the backtrace because if the tests have passed, we don't really care why CodeCov's not going to fail, or unlikely, I guess. I'm okay with that. I think that's fine. So that's now going to finish faster. So that's one thing done. Then, instead of running these individual upgrades, which honestly I'd like to automate them, and then they just overnight, all the tests have passed, and if they pass, they integrate into the main branch. That would be ideal, but we're not there at the moment, so I just kind of want to get rid of these. So we could bump these regex versions locally, like this one for instance, and then just run tests locally. Let's have a look at our cargo file. So we've got, oh, what on earth is that? I've never seen this before, this little thumbs up thing. I wonder what plugins we've got going on at the moment. Yeah, what extensions are we running? Maybe it's this one. That's really cool. Cool, okay, wasn't expecting that. So I guess cargo update, is that going to do what I want it to do? And then we can break it all in one go. And then hopefully we can get rid of this, and this. Although this one clearly is broken, as we said, so we've got to figure out why that's broken. Now we should see probably that our lock file has changed. Yeah. These must be sub-dependencies or sub-sub-dependencies because we're not specifically mentioning them. Regex, seed, all kinds of things. Okay, so that's everything upgraded. So now we should try and compile this, I guess. That's from a previous project. Let's have a look at the history. Tail, oh, I don't know, the last 10 lines. All right, the last 20 lines. Go to 40. There it is. That's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. This nice, clearly short and succinct build command. Yeah, that looks good. Then we should have, so I checked this was working earlier. Oh yeah, I found a weird bug earlier as well. There's, I think this has been mentioned on stream before, but stuff is rendering out of order. So this last line should be down here. And I think it might be a framework issue with seed. So we might be filing a ticket for that. Slow old compile. I guess I don't normally compile these, like all of these dependencies. There, right, let's see what's broken. That's not too bad, like one screen of errors, I could cope with that. Okay, so type mismatch resolving a 4 with a lifetime of R, lifetime of S. Then we've got a function definition, another lifetime of S. And then that's going to return this. I think I'm reading this right. So expected struct seed prelude init, but it found struct model. Okay, so that's librs line 162. Right. Step 1, let's check the change log on seedrs. There for one, then here. So what do we got? We've got a render function and we're after seed app build. Expected prelude init found model. All right, let's have a look for init. Okay, so it's probably expecting init new. This is a guess. I think app build. Almost like the entire thing. Expected struct seed prelude init, but it found a model. So is that saying seed app build? Have a look here. This file changed recently. That's the first thing, is the documentation being updated. 4 days ago. Okay, this is looking good. See what's changed. At least 0.42. So change the dependency. That was it. That's all they've changed. We could take their example, which I've already lost. Have I lost it? Oh, it was on the README page, wasn't it? Yeah, there it is. Let's just use their example first of all. So seed app build looks good. Then we're passing in a default model. I think we used to do this, then there was a bug. So now, and if I remember correctly, the bug was that when you were on a particular page, let's say this page, and then you refreshed, it would take you back to the home page, which is obviously not what you want. Huh. It's very, oh, of course, because we don't actually have the local web server running at the moment. We'll do that in a second. Let's see what happens with this then. I'm just going to note this out. Let's see if it compiles. Wow. Okay. It did technically compile, but we didn't pass in the roots. So I think this is going to need some extra. I think this is going to need some of this. These function calls are going to need bringing down to here, I think. We possibly only need to update that first line. But let's see what we have. So Yeah, so this was the problem, right? So you go, it works, you can, actually no, it doesn't work. Okay, so let's take this few functions at a time. That seems to upset it. Try and figure out why. So just to recap, we have updated the framework, the dependent framework from seed, I think it was 4.1 to 4.2, or maybe 4.0 to 4 point something. And now when we call that framework, when we first initialize it, it's erroring. We're trying to fix it. Expected enum standard option, but found enum message. So how do I pass the roots in? Guess we have a look at the routing example. So yeah, so they've got seed app build, init new, model default, update view. So we've got that, that's fine. We're trying to pass in roots. And I guess in our case, actually, I did blindly just copy 2 lines in. I did add the mount app. Maybe that's not actually needed. Okay, it's still upset. Okay, so they've written a custom roots here, and I suspect we will have done the same because we're calling it. Just need to find it. There it is. So this is returning a message, and quite clearly the error down here is saying I was expecting an option message, not a message. So I mean, I can change the function return type. I can do that straight away. But I don't believe for a second that that will just magically fix it. We'll have to change something else in the function. Yeah, look at that. Loads of stuff's now upset. Expected enum message, but found enum standard option. Okay, so we would have to put some around whatever we're returning. I can't believe we're using the word return. I didn't think you actually need to do that. Rust. What if I do this? Is this valid? Let's find out. I think that might help. Okay, so that's vastly reduced the number of errors. So the only other place we need is here. That should do it. Expected enum message, found enum standard option. That's on line 176. Where's that then? That's here. So it's expecting roots to return a message, but it found an option. We just added an option. Did we not? Am I going mad? Do we not just do that? Oh, hang on. Have we got a customer knit here? Do we need this now? Can this go? Okay. It's coming back to me now. I remember that we wrote this customer knit as directed by one of, if not the core contributor to the framework, David. Let's see what behavior this gives us. First of all, does it load? Malformed page URL. Was the number correctly entered? Okay. So I don't. Where is that from? That's curious. Are they all trashed? Okay, the homepage works. Hard refresh these, shall we? These seem to be working, broadly speaking. So what one wasn't? Prime numbers page. But now it is. Is it because I had a slash on the end of there? Huh, okay. This is looking more and more like it's working. I wonder if they fixed something. What were we passing before? We were also passing the model, right? Let's check the downloads page for various things. So if I go to format, does that work? All right, that's pretty cool. I'll just bring that. So we've got the number 3. There we go. Just put it back over here. Or not, because it gets upset when I do that, apparently. There we go. And let's try a slightly bigger number. That gives us that gem. Look at that. That's a nice number. All right, last one. Yeah, that's clearly working. Okay, so we can download stuff. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Generate. Does the generate button work on it? Yeah, we get it. We get a number. It's the number 31. Seems to work. I can't really see any reason why we wouldn't commit this then. This seems to be working. So I guess we get rid of... We didn't need to mount the app. I guess that's taken care of now, somehow. We are passing in the routes. Window events we seem to not care about. I don't know what .finish does, but it seems to not be an issue. Maybe we should have a look at build and start. I just want to see what's actually going on in the framework, what's changed. Have a look. Yeah. Okay, deprecated. Please use build and start instead. All right, I'm good with that. If you say it's deprecated, then that's what we're going to do. We're going to do the correct way, the new way. Cool. Let's commit that then. Let's check that that's all relevant. So we've changed all of our package dependency versions. They're all updated. Stuff still, broadly speaking, seems to work. There's a lot of dependency changes, isn't there? So many dependency changes. Wow. Okay. I'm reasonably happy with that. Git commit. Let's see what comes up in the commit. Just the cargo lock and the library file. Fine. Fine. I'm happy with that. Again, just the cargo lock and the library file. So here we can say upgraded dependencies. Seed now, is it 0.4.2? Have a look at our pull requests, 0.4.2. And we can probably just close all of these in one change. That'd be great. Upgraded dependencies, seed now 0.4.2. I think that's all we did, right? I don't think we did anything else. And then I question this return. I don't understand why that's needed. I thought you could just do that in Rust. But that breaks it. So what's the point of the return keyword? Oh, I just thought of one other thing we should do. We should run our tests. Just whilst it's doing that. Rust return keyword. What's the point? Moves its arguments into the designated output. Well, okay, so by that logic, I could do that as well. Why? I quite liked the shorthand of not having the semicolon on the end and that equated to a return. Is it because it's not the final thing in the function, and therefore I have to specify return to say I really do mean for this to return? In the meantime, all of our unit tests passed. Great. I'm going to compile it. I just would love to know what this error. What is that error with? Make this a bit more expected, but it found an option. Yeah, okay. I don't understand. But I'll leave it as it is. Maybe I'll gain understanding at some future time. Cool. Let's see where we are now. So we should have another pull request build going on. Oh, did I not push? Alright, my bad, I didn't push. There should be a new build appearing here. Yeah, PR60. And fortunately, the previous pull request ran as well. I guess it was the slowest one, was the total length of time it took, so 17 minutes. So I think rolling the code curve into there has definitely meant that we're saving about 5 minutes on a build. See if there's anything funky going on in here. It runs the unit test. Does it really need to? Oh yeah, it does. Of course it needs to run the unit test. How else is it going to get the code coverage? Cool. That's going to run. I think ditch that. Don't need that. We can update this now. So we moved code cov in CI to be parallel with unit tests, and that seems to be working. Good stuff. We upgraded seed to 0.4.2 and fixed don't know what you call it. Guess it's the render. Guess upgraded, updated. What else did we do? All dependencies now up to date. That is also true. And we also got momentarily confused about how returns work. So all of those bumps, I'm going to close them. My mass close them. Mark as close. Yeah, there we go. So need to wait for this to run. Hopefully it'll all be fine. And actually we don't have to wait. I'm not going to wait. I'll leave that there though. Okay, so what's next? What do we do? We've done the dependapot stuff. This rendering issue seems to have that sorted itself out. Is there still a weird rendering issue? Oh, we don't have the local. We're not running the local test server, are we? Let's try that again. I guess that must have come out of cache the first time. So I could have sworn this had a thing on the end about me saying might not respond. Oh, it's there. What order is this being rendered in? Oh, this time it's the correct one. Okay, fine. I think I'm okay with that. Cool. I'm okay with that. That's fine. So the other thing I guess would be nice is if we keep going on this, does it just get exponentially slower? Is there anything we can use here to figure out how slow it is? Console? No. But if I went to say 50,000, yeah, that takes a noticeable amount of time. That is 2 or 3 seconds. Okay, I think that's the target then. Probably speed this up. Also, did we put a limit on this, or will this just try and render? This is just going to try and render no matter what. This is probably eating CPU right now. Let's close everything down. A web page is slowing down your browser. What would you like to do? I'm good with waiting, actually. I want to see how long it takes. Pages. What is this? Archive Prime. Archive Prime. You know what? It took too long. I don't care anymore. So there's a few things we should probably do. I think we should have an upper limit. We should have a sane upper limit on. So let's write a bunch of tests. Introduce sane upper limit to Prime Archive. E.g. 2 or 3 seconds. And then give up on the page. Yes, let's do this. What else should we test for? Because if we write the tests and then we write the code, I think that'll be the first time on this stream that it'll be test driven. Rather than, oh, we better write some tests because we wrote some code. This is very broken. Each one of zeros. Wait the requisite 3 seconds. Boom. What else do we want to do? This, it technically works. What have we got? We've got M100 prime test. So this is checking this works. Not for very large numbers actually. I think I'd like to rewrite. I think we can get the numbers up to 1 million in a fraction of a second. So maybe if we used like a sieve or something. And we're aiming to get, what are we aiming to get with a sieve? I know I said 1 million, but now I'm thinking about it, I think 10 million. Aiming to get 10 million primes in less than a second. That should be achievable. Then we can actually write some tests for this non-existent sieve. So I guess we want to sieve. I'm just going to call it sieve test. Curious that, oh, I got, look at that, got my formatting wrong. Yeah, so I think, is that how you spell sieve? Oh, that's terrible. Prime sieve, did I get it right? Google, please help us. I before E. Basic English rule. I needed a £1 billion unicorn search engine to correct my spelling. So we're going to test. I think we'll put this. So I think we've got a module at the top of this page called Prime Utils. Yeah, okay. So we've got Prime Utils here, and then within that, Really? We've only got one function. I was not expecting that. All right, we've only got one function in there. I think we'll keep the module as prime utils. I think that's worth doing. And we could call it sieve, right? It is a sieve, technically. And what do we want to sieve? Obviously prime numbers. How do we want to sieve? Because we just don't want the whole million every time. I think I want to give it a start number, an end number. Yeah. That's not going to work, is it? Giving it a start number and an end number. I mean, that's technically how sieves work. Spelling's gone already. Maybe we, yeah, no, maybe we do. So it would be a start number and an end number. And then we would expect a vector to be returned. So in this case, we would expect 2, 3, 5, 7. Those would be our prime numbers that would come back. And yes, I think this works. Because then we could have a sieve that's like, yeah, let's do that. Okay, let's write a sieve. Let's write a sieve. So public function sieve I before e. We got it right this time. Who knew? We learned Rust and spelling on this stream. So we've got a sieve. We decided we were going to have a start number, right? So let's keep that as a U size. So the standard size for whatever processor you're running. And I guess end, which could also be U size. And then what would we return? We would also return a vector of U-sized numbers. I bet we don't really need to write this. I bet there is a Rust prime sieve already out there. Prime sieve, beginner. Yes, cool. This is looking. I'm trying to remember the name of it actually. There was a website like the Rosetta Stone. I think it was called Rosetta Code. Yeah, this. And then you can go down to your chosen programming language, in our case, good old Rust. Let's have a look. Good. I was worried there. I thought they didn't have it. So the sieve of Ratus, this, okay, that person. Apparently saying words is not my strong point today. This sieve, so they've got a simple sieve. They're limiting based on U size. So I guess that means they're presuming the start. Curious. I've just thought, I wonder. No, let's keep this simple. I was going to say we could probably pass in a list of prime numbers or something to begin with, but let's just keep this simple sieve. So this is saying is prime. There's a vector. They all start off as prime. Limit +1. Then it goes through, essentially crossing off stuff that's not prime. Seems reasonably simple. Then we've got an optimized one. Uses a box for the return type. Odds only bit packed array iterator output. Following code improves the above code by sieving only odd composite numbers. Well, yeah, all right, that's pretty solid. Then we go to unbounded page segmented bit packed odds only version with an iterator. This is getting pretty serious, isn't it? Should we start simple and then we can improve upon this? So to begin with, they're starting off with a vector. I think let's just take that. Excuse me. I think that might be the first time I've sneezed on stream before. Brilliant. My eyes nearly came out. Right, what do we break? Well, they haven't set limit because limit is what we've passed in. So I guess in our case it's end. So instead of limit. Yeah, there we go. That is a milestone, isn't it? Yes. Not one that Twitch seems to reward, unfortunately, but it's there. Oh, I see. And we're just starting at 2, I guess, whereas we want to hard code and say, well, actually, we want to start at the number we're specifying. Let's read this. Let's just check we're not introducing some kind of bug into this. So let is prime be modifiable, mutable, and yeah, let it be a vector of a whole bunch of binary trues, enough for, I guess, going all the way to the end of whatever we're counting, +1. I mean, we're not including the start variable here, so I wonder if there's a potential for a bug here. So I'm going to say note does not use start variable. And then I'm going to, that's my standard face for this stream to decide that there might be a problem there. So the first thing we're going to say is that prime, this vector, we're just going to straight away say is prime 0 is false. Well, that's not necessarily true because we don't know where we started. Because yeah, that's not necessarily true. And then if end, I don't think we want that. If end is greater than or equal to 1, which it will be, then is prime 1 equals false. I'm not sure that's true either. I'm going to get rid of that. Let's keep this super simple. Okay, so for num, so we're setting a new variable here called num in this set of numbers, so everything from start to end +1, if is prime. If we think that this number is prime at the moment, we're not actually checking, just if we think it's prime, then take that number and times it by itself. So square the number. Not quite sure why we're doing that yet. Why we're going, and then while square of that number is larger than, oh, I see. I understand. Yeah, okay, I understand what's going on, or why it's doing that. I'm not sure that's how I want this to work, though. Sorry, so I think what this is doing is, you remember a little earlier I was mentioning about whether we pass in a list of prime numbers. This is essentially just making my brain hurt. Let multiple equal, I wouldn't call that multiple, I would call that squared, because that's what that is. In fact, I would go one further than that. It is num squared. That is what it is. Call it what it is. That'll make my brain hurt less. So let num squared equal, well, num squared. And then while this number squared is less than or equal to end, so whilst we're going all the way through the sieve, is prime num squared equals false. Num squared plus equals. What? Hang on, what did I just change? That was called multiple. I don't understand why it's using multiple. Let's assume that there's a really good reason that I don't see, and let's just test this, right? Then this is going to go through this prime thing, this array, this vector, which would be a mixture of true and falses, and then we're going to iterate over that. We're going to filter primary. Okay, so the number will be primary, the value will be true or false. Alright, this is making my head. If it's true, then grab, I think that will be the index, i.e. the number itself, else it's none, and then collect those that are not none. So this should just give you a list of prime numbers. Okay, right, let's run this. What's wrong with that? Function is never used. Oh, because I didn't say it's a test. Sorry, yep. Need to specify this is a test. Run tests. I mean, if this works first time, I'll be amazed. Failure. Cool. Okay, this is a milestone. Like, this is technically TDD, I guess, at this point. So it's failed. Why has it failed? It panicked. Left does not equal right because the left returned 0 and we expected 2, 3, 5 and 7. All right, that's a good shout. Let's just check this. So start. So we're passing in 1 and 10, right? So let's get rid of this function. I don't have to scroll so much. So we're passing in 1 and 10. So start is equal to 1 and end is equal to 10. So we are having an array here of 11 numbers that to begin with it thinks are all prime. Then we're going through that from, I guess, 1 to 10. And then we're saying if they're prime, which we know they will start off being, square the number, and whilst we're less than the square of that number, is prime number squared equals false. Then we're saying num squared plus equals num. So this would set them all to false. What's wrong with that then? I kind of want to do like a PHP's version of a print R or a var dump or a. What can we do? What can we do? Rust version of var dump. Or print R. Can I have that? Rust debug output print. By example. Cool. All right, so I can have print line. Is there such a thing as just print? Oh, hang on, pretty print. What's that? So this is, okay, this is looking quite nice as a possibility. So let's add a print here that will contain, this is prime array. That's what we want to know at this point. In fact, we probably want 2 of these. One before we manipulate it and one afterwards. So if I run cargo test, that should throw those out whilst it's running the tests. Yeah, it did. Okay, so this is essentially saying, oh, the problem is, because we're starting at 1, yeah, okay. This can't start at an arbitrary number. This has to start at 1. Because otherwise it's essentially going through and saying, oh, everything's divisible by 1, so it's not prime. Makes sense. So start. I think, therefore, start always has to equal 1. Let's see if this works. I am expecting this to pass the test now. Oh, we were so far away from that working. So we begin with have a false and then a bunch of trues. We end up with just false. Okay. And let's put that other line in that I noted out, thinking, oh, we don't need that. That doesn't do anything. No, the tests are passing. Okay, so let's commit this. So, are we ready to commit yet? Yeah, because we're not. This functionality is not actually called. Sieve is only called from a test, so it's safe to commit this. If this ended up in production, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Okay, so we're saying added sieve and unit test. So I'm going to call it a proof of concept. It is a proof of concept. It is not a working, all singing, all dancing sieve. So now I guess we want this to be more complicated. We want to. So this is just a basic test. That's all this is. Basic test, starting from 1. But what if this was a basic test starting from 5 or 3? Let's go with 3. 3 seems simpler. So if we were starting from 3, I would expect just 3, 5, and 7 to come back. Yes, that's what I would expect. Let's run the test first of all. Let's see what happens. We know it's going to fail, but that's okay. Okay, so it fails. So the left returned a whole bunch of stuff, including, curiously, even numbers, which makes some degree of sense if we haven't passed it 1 or 2, and we know that this is relying on making my brain hurt. Okay. So regardless of what start is, and I think we can get rid of this note now, we end up with a prime array of size end. So we're still using 10. So we have a size of 10 numbers plus 1, so we end up with 11 numbers. The first one we are saying would be the number 1, I guess. The first 2 are false. What do we get for our output actually? Oh, there's loads of output there. Of course, there's 2 sets because now we've got 2 tests. So the first 2 are false, which makes sense, I think. So if is prime and this starts off as start, I think this is the problem. I don't think this should start as start. I think if we go back to the Rosetta example, where they started with 2. I think that's what we should actually have. Yeah, I know. Test start isn't in use. That's fine. Okay, so that still fails. But this is looking a bit more sane now. Now we're getting 2, 3, 5, and 7. So the next thing to do is filter. So we just want, let me think about this for a second. So we want is prime to be true. So we want the number to be prime. And this is starting to hurt my brain, but I think, and this is getting a bit messy as well, where I'm so hang on, bear with. So I think if is prime is true, and if that goes there, that's what we would know. If second if that we want to check is if start is more than, no, hang on. If PR, so if the prime number that we're checking is larger than or equal to start, this syntax has just become horrible. So I think, can we break this? Will it allow us to break this onto multiple lines? I hope it does. I've got a feeling it might not. Oh no, it does. Bear with. I have to undo the mess that I've created. So we're saying if it's prime and so it is prime and is greater than start variable. And then we missed a none. Okay, that's okay. That's okay. So where's the other end of this? There. Maybe I should use cargo clippy for this. Maybe it should have formatted this in a nicer way. How do people feel about that? Is that more readable? I think that's more readable. And this I can say not prime. And not prime. Okay, let's try this. Hey, okay, so this is actually looking pretty good. So now we're saying that we've got this working no matter what start we give it. So git commits Sieve now supports any, well, maybe not any, now supports start values. I'll push that in a bit. Let's check how our build is going. Oof, not great. Is that because we didn't increase the code coverage? Well, that's fine. If I do a git push, we'll definitely increase the code coverage because We've got unit tests. So can we swap out our N100 prime mess that I absolutely really don't enjoy looking at? I don't even want to look at it. Can we swap that out on our render function? And does that immediately give us speed gains? We can find out. So what is this? Slug int and numbers per page. Oh, of course. So we specifically want 100 numbers. So we don't know. So that's okay. So we need, before we swap this out, we're going to need that's essentially what start is, I think. So that's the start, like start prime number. But we're going to need numbers per page. So we kind of want it to keep going. Or only return a certain number. So we've got start, we've got end, and I'm going to drop the word basic because I think that is some negative language. So this time we're going to say test starting with from 3, return 15 numbers. So I think this becomes yeah, so we would like 4 numbers, we would like 3 numbers, and here we're saying we would like, it's getting quite complicated actually. It's not truly a sieve anymore if we're saying, no, it's fine, it's fine. And here we're saying we want 15 numbers. So I think to get 15 numbers, we're going to have to do like a sieve that goes up to 100. And then we're going to have to list first 15 numbers. 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, 21, 37, 41. How many are we up to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 12. I think 43, 47 maybe. I want to say 51. That'll do. Let's see what we end up with. So now we've added this extra complexity. So now we're saying we want see, I'm not even sure. I'm not sure that we want to add so much functionality into this giant function. I don't think we want to do that at all. I think it would be better to have another function that limits what we return. Going on here. Feels like, what's the end of that? That should be there. Using. Hang on, let me just do a git commit -p because I just want to make sure that we have reasonably good commits on this. So that I want to include, yes. That I want to include in the commit, yes. That yeah, I'll include that as well, but not that. And I'm going to say removed debug fixed tabbing. Super simple. Then what? Then we're going to add sieve. So this is going to be another one. So this will be public function sieve limited. Sieve n numbers. Let's say it's sieve n primes. and it's going to have to take a vector of u size. Spoiler alert. It's going to have to return a vector of u size well to remain compatible with our unit tests. So why is that error? I've done something silly. Oh yeah, I didn't actually give it a variable name. So n primes. Just this. So instead of this being sieve, I think this should become sieve n primes. We can just have that extra complexity in here. I feel better about that. Then we can start breaking out these functions a bit more. So sieve n primes. I guess we just want to slice it. So this takes the same arguments for that. Grab those, put those in there. All good. Then we want to call sieve within here, and we're going to want to pass in start and end. I wonder if we can be smart about guessing what start and end should be. Unsure. So let sieved numbers equal that, which just for our own mind is going to be a vector of u size. Then I guess, yes, slicing a vector. That's what we want to do. Rust slice vector. Dynamically size view into a contiguous sequence. There's our vector. Then we slice it. Yeah, so I think we simply return everything from 0 n primes. Now that might be an oversimplification and the types might be wrong. Mismatch type expected a vector vector, but it found a slice. Okay, so how do I convert a slice to a vector? Convert slice to vector. Okay, that's simple enough. To vector. Hang on a minute. Why did I say that that was a vector of u size? That should just be u size. All right. Let's try running the tests. Oh, I was wrong. 51 is obviously divisible by something. Can't immediately think what. 17? 17. So actually that should be 53. And all the tests pass. Okay. So at this point, we have guessed, or we've started at 3 and we've said we want the 15 prime numbers starting at 3. But ideally, we don't want this 100. We don't really know in advance how many numbers we're going to have to check. I wonder if we could... Let's commit what we've got for a start. Let's just git diff. So we've added sieve n primes. We've added tests. So git commit added sieve n primes. Okay. Ooh. Sure. And whilst that build's been going on, this is improved. Okay, so we must now be slightly improving the test coverage. Yeah. Up by a whole percentage point. Pretty good. Probably more as we keep going with this as well. So we haven't done number 1. We are starting to rewrite to use a sieve spelling. Git commit spelling sieve. All right. What was I going to do? I was going to do something, wasn't I? And then I stopped to write this new function. Oh, I know what it was. This n100 primes. So we have a starting integer. We have numbers per page. So I think we have that. We specify, let's say 10,000. Does that work? Or have we got the wrong thing going on up here? I think we might have the wrong thing going on up here. Let's compile it anyway. That's not the thing I want. That's the thing. With a bit of luck. Okay, well, with a bit of luck it might not error, but let's just check other pages. Other pages work? I go like formats, perfects, Fibonacci is fine, but if I've got a primes. Ooh, okay, so the first one in theory works. So slugint is probably starting off at like 1 or 2. And then if I go to the next, am I being trolled? No, that is working, isn't it? It does seem to be working. That's looking good. Okay. And, oh, of course, this is going to error because when we get to 50,000, that's a very large number. But what if I recompiled it saying, please go to 1,000,000? Which, now I think about it, was our test. We want to, oh no, we want to get to 10 million in less than a second. If I refresh this now, that wasn't less than a second. Next. It is, however, very quick. We're only on 50. I think this has misinterpreted what we were after. If I go to the production site, I think that probably starts at 100. So if I go to genuinelybigprimes.net, zoom that in a bit. So if I go to next 100, so that immediately says 101, that says 547 versus, go back here, 541. If I go to next, that should start at 547. Right. So we need to change the way this is being fed. So we need to work out the 101st prime and then feed that into the sieve. Unless we run the sieve twice, which seems super inefficient. So let me ponder on this for a second. So we need to work out the 101st number. So we could cheat, or maybe not cheat, but we could double up on our work, and we could say yes, let me just think on this for a second. I think we could say first prime on page equals slug int becomes the number of numbers that we want, and 2 is, now let me just think this through. I'm pretty sure first prime on page mismatch types, because it's a vector, of course it is. Starting at 2, we want that, and then we want to slice that be a vector, and we only want the last thing in there. Where were we slicing? We were slicing somewhere a minute ago. I'm sure we were. Where were we slicing? Here. So this becomes so this becomes slug int. So we essentially want the last one. But this will still error because we're returning a vector at this point. And how do we access a vector? I can't remember. That's for tuples, I think, isn't it? Not vectors. Yeah. Rust access vector. Or just show me vectors. Oh, really? Okay, I can just pop off the end. Or do that. Or I could just... okay, this is looking like I could probably just do this. To upset it still. Mismatched type. So what's this expecting? Yes, this says cargo... run cargo test so that it builds and then it can throw the error. Expected usize, but found an option. Fair enough. So we could unwrap our option. Run cargo test. Okay, so in theory, this might actually work. the live site. The local site. So if I go previous, that's working. Next. 547 1223. Let's zoom that in a bit. Alright, this is looking quite promising actually. Those are the same, those are the same. Alright, so now let's go for something a little larger, like 50,000. And here, let's go for slash 50,000. Oh, that was quick. Also wrong. Well, one of them's wrong. I mean, I'm assuming the new version is wrong. Let's presume it is definitely wrong. So I would like the 50,000th. The first 10,000 primes. Prime numbers list between what is the 500,000th prime number. I just want the 50,000th. That says list 50. Is that an advert? Anyway, okay. Let's not get drawn into what's an advert and what's not. Well, it's DuckDuckGo. I don't think they do advertising. I'm going to click it. 1996. The 50,000th prime number is 611953. 611953. Okay, so the production site is correct, as proved there. So that leads us on to the question, why is this wrong? And at what point does it become wrong? So let's go for 40,000 in both cases. Definitely slightly wrong there. So quick. This sieve is so much quicker. 3.5, so that's still wrong. Oh, 10,000 then. Are we introducing this problem? $3,000? So this occurs within the first 3,000 numbers, but not the first 1,000 numbers. Okay, 1,500 maybe? Okay, so 1,500 matches. 1,700 and we're off by 1. Alright, so now that we've got that, what we can do is let's add a test for starting at the 1,700th prime, I guess. So yeah, previous. Actually, hang on, let's just manually do this because eventually these are going to marry up. There. One four three eight seven. 14387. So 14369. So 14369 is not included. It's a prime number. Well, it's no longer too large to check for primality because we've got this new sieve, so we can introduce that. Why on earth would that All right, 14369. So starting with 14360, or we could say 1345. I don't know what's that. That was the maximum sieve size, right? We could set that to like 20,000. I want the next three numbers. And I would expect, according to our prime site, our production site, I would expect 14341. No, I wouldn't. I'd expect 14347. I would expect 14369. And I would expect 14387. Test mid-range numbers. And then, yeah, if I run cargo test on that, what are we dealing with? I've just seen that AutoMod held a message from Yalvici earlier. I'm not telling you what it said, but it was a programming language nonetheless. Let's just say it hurts your brain. What? Hang on. No, that shouldn't have worked. That shouldn't have worked. We're saying 14369 is missing. And of course, let's recompile, get our local test server running again. I mean, if we can fix this weird bug, then this feels like it's probably ready to roll out to half the site. We should see some speed ups on a number of pages, which would be great. So yeah, if I like Control R is like a force reload. I hit that a few times. So 14369. Why would that number be missed? So it's got to be a problem with the sieve. I say it's got to as if I know, but I'm presuming it's a problem with the sieve. Wonder what that number squared is. Is it anything to do with 32-bit? I don't know what that. All right, there's a bug. I am at the moment not sure how to fix that. So I'm going to take a break for a bit. Come back to this. Have a think. But I'm really quite pleased with the potential of this. With a bit of luck, we can orders of magnitude increase the speed of various parts of the site, and probably increase the number of numbers that we can check for primality by, again, many orders of magnitude on the cruncher page. And at the same time, we've increased our unit test coverage. So it's looking good. It's looking very good. But as I say, I'm going to take a break. I will be back a little later. Cheers.